everybody, and welcome to Tabletakes. Today is July 17th, and you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and start the day off with sunshine. Christian, how did you start your day off with sunshine today? Or this week, you were saying?
Oh, you were muted.
Audio, you were muted. Yes.
Let there be sound.
Of course I was. I got a new oven this week because I tried to burn down my kitchen with the old one last week.
Can you do that with a new one now too?
I have raised my cooking skill, so my chances to start a fire on an electrical range topper, they are lowered slightly if we're going by Sims rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But only if we're going by Sims rules, I think. Also, I continued my tradition of waking up very early in the morning and watching old black and white cowboy shows. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
How long have you been doing this tradition?
About since the pandemic started.
Okay.
Are you gonna start wearing cowboy hats now? And
I'm not gonna tell you what I wear behind closed doors. But yeah, there's a lot of cowboy gear. I've been obsessed with cowboys since I was a small child, but I hadn't really I had not actually dealt with this with these old black and white cowboy heroes, and they've really stolen my heart over the last couple of months. Because they're so woke for guys in the late 1950s. They're like cool. They're like, yes, women deserve respect and minorities deserve respect, and you gotta treat people like people, and capitalism is bad. And like cowboys ruled back then. They were especially Richard Boone as a paladin and Have Gun Will Travel.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
Lots of morning cowboys.
Did you want to share that inspirational quote you gave us earlier?
Oh yeah. So I was watching an episode. This episode of Have Gun Will Travel. Paladin is dealing with a man who's obsessed with his own horoscope.
Well, hold on, just to make sure. His name is Paladin.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was one of those like subtle shows that was not very clear with the message it wanted to get across. It wanted the viewers to interpret.
The thing is, you would think that he's just a traveling good guy, but he's not. He's literally a gun for hire. Like, you can pay him to shoot somebody, but he's still a good guy.
Yeah.
And he always imposes his morality on the bad guys, you know.
Oh, that sounds very Paladin-like. Yes.
That tracks.
Definitely lives up to the name. Yeah. No, the thing he said to this guy was, "Man does not need the mortar of truth to seal up the private prisons of his own fear." Boom.
Ooh,
How
I like
topical
that.
and timely is that?
So he's one of those philosophical assassins for hire.
Yeah, he also quotes Shakespeare a lot and has a silly little mustache. But yeah, he's probably my favorite next to Josh Randall on Wanted Dead or Alive, because that's Steve McQueen, and how can you not Steve McQueen? He had those eyes.
Ooh. Speaking about wanting something dead or alive, Derek, you wanted something super dead, right?
Well, I wanted to be the one to kill it, apparently. Because Orcs Must Die came out on Stadia, Orcs Must Die 3. And this is one of those games that I think is not super well known. But then you encounter people who've played it and they get really excited about it. But yeah, Orcs Must Die is like this tower defense third-person shooter hybrid, where you basically are this mage who sets up all these traps around a dungeon, and then this unending wave of orcs will come at you and get mauled by your dungeon while you're trying to pick off the stragglers. And they got released, the new sequel got released on Stadia, and my wife, and I played the original games, and she was super excited to play the new one. So we put a bunch of time into it. And Stadia, it being on Stadia, added some interesting elements, like where they added a war mode, where instead of having like 100 orcs come at you over the course of a wave, you had hundreds of orcs coming you at a time on like a huge battlefield, and you could put up catapults and all this kind of crazy stuff while you're defending a castle instead of just a dungeon and things. So it was neat. But it's the very satisfying thing of setting up a murder hallway.
Yeah.
And then watching an unending horde just kind of pour through the murder hallway while your traps fling them everywhere, and you're just kind of picking off the ones that are somehow managing to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. I also, if you want to also launch orcs,
Yep.
and then maniacally laugh, even though that sounds horrible. It really does. It sounds bad.
They're
Bad
fine.
people.
They
It
come
seems
back,
like a
right?
mean thing to do now that they're not evil races.
I know. We're bad.
Well, these are definitely bad ones.
Oh, these are bad orcs.
Yep,
Okay.
these are definitely bad ones.
Not just a few good apples.
No, I think like there's some story, blah blah blah. Someone in another dimension is possessed with evil and is summoning nonstop orc evil monster things. Who knows? But seeing as how their bodies clearly just dissipate and decay away and don't sit there, like I think I was playing with my friend and we were killing so many of them that she was like, "Do we just need to open like a sandwich shop or something like that to do something with all this meat?" But the bodies just disappear, so clearly they're not real, right?
Right.
They're just manifestations of evil power, and then it's okay to horribly
Yeah.
mutilate them.
They're not real.
That's a game about genocide.
No orcs were
isn't it?
harmed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can't be on the stream.
I with their best Travolta impression.
Oh man. But yeah, that is a game. I do actually enjoy it. But now if you have to really think deep about it though, it makes you sound like a really bad person. But for the joy of making traps
But it's
go
still
off.
fun. Anyway.
Emma, you went out to the outside world. You exposed yourself to the outside. Don't you know it's dangerous?
I went outside with Mass, of course. I went for a walk in an arboretum, walked around for a while, and this morning my legs were sore, so I think maybe I should do more of that, just walking and exercise. And a message to y'all too, maybe, stand up for a little bit, walk around in your apartment, or do some leg raises or something, because I'm starting to worry about...
Not the boss of me.
You're not my mom. Do what I want.
I'm just saying, there's sedentary life can have consequences, and I care about you. I care about all your health.
Important question though, Emma. Did you bring Arboretum to play when you were in the Arboretum?
I do not. I have the fancy copy of the game. I do actually like
the
that
one that
game,
you can play while walking.
No, they don't have that. It's very tableau. Like, it's definitely not a walk and play sort of game, but it'd be cool if they had a travel version of it.
Get one of those old super sexist cigar lady boxes.
Oh, are you talking about the
neck strap?
straps?
Yeah. Where you can kind of like walk around with a little tray in front of you and you can play.
Yeah.
Give that a shot.
I like that. Also, when you were talking about games, it reminded me that I did actually get a couple of new video games yesterday. We Should Talk just came out. This is a really cool game that I saw at PAX. I believe it was last year, and it's all about this really cool mechanic where it's text-based, kind of. You're like going through stories, but you can like change the segments of text. So instead of just selecting one option, it's got like a little spinner for your options in there. So it's a very flexible text-based system, and it's about having very complicated and difficult conversations with people. So that game seemed pretty cool. Also, Ooblets, adorable pet dancing, maybe fighting game. It's changed a lot since I first looked at it, but I did acquire that. I'm looking forward to playing it soon.
You're gonna enjoy it.
I think a lot of the trailers now make it kind of feel like a combination between like Pokemon and Animal Crossing in some way.
Pokemon and Stardew Valley, you mash them together, but instead of fighting, you dance battle. Let me see you dance. You got nothing.
Yeah,
on me.
Even if you just walk around and these things kind of follow you around, and then there's more of them, like that's I'm there for that. I'm excited about that.
So cutest video game of the week goes to Ooblets, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah, I've also been
since they added dance battles, so I'm probably down for this game as well.
I've been also obsessed with Ooblets this week. I had an extra stream just to like keep playing it online, be like, I need to share. But also the darker theme is that you are enslaving all of these fairy creatures after, of course, you dance battle them and you grow their youth and then they work for you. But that's like one way to see
darker.
it.
That's one way to see it.
Well, like that was all of our reaction to Pokemon, right? Remember? Like back when it came out, and we were just like, you realize this is just like an underground dogfighting ring, but it's for kids.
Yeah,
like,
but they don't fight.
This is weird.
But they're just manifestations of your imagination or something.
Sure, okay.
But yeah,
at least I'm honest with what I do with my monsters in my video games.
The question is, I guess they were saying is like,
Michael Vick would have been a Pokemon trainer.
But Also, another thing about Ooblets, you think it's all fun and cutesy. It's got some like real rude characters and very meta things that they talk about. Just in case you don't want to get blindsided by that, because I was like, oh yeah. They're like, oh, who wants to like farming? Why would you ever do farming? And then they make fun of like people who play games for a living too. And I'm like, what is this game? Why are you so mean?
You were personally attacked by Ooblets, is what you're saying?
I feel very attacked by Ooblets. But yeah. I think the other thing that I'm just excited for this week is that I'm going to be playing Fusion, which is a Steven Universe Star RPG. And
You
I'm
never
just really
did confirm if my guess about what gem you were going to try to play was correct. Because I actually went and looked up orange gemstones for you and made an appropriate selection, and then you were just like, pfft.
Oh, well, no, I can confirm I am a gem. And you know what? It's like you have to like watch the show or something to see what kind of gem I'm gonna be.
I'm on the edge of my
All
seat.
right, keep your secrets, wizard.
I'm gonna keep it secret until.
Thanks for the preview, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, but yes. That. Now, since we were talking about previews and stuff, last week we were talking about, Derek, you were talking about your thing that, of course, if anybody bought it and you didn't get a hold of it, that they would totally be disowned by you. You were able to get that copy?
I was, at least the website reported that I got. So I was able to get my like collector's edition of the 9th edition rulebook for Warhammer 40K. But it was ironic because it could totally escape my mind, even though we were on the stream, I was talking about it, it was happening the next day. I totally forgot that I was also planning on driving down to Portland that weekend because my wife works for my sporting house and they were opening up a new store in Portland. So then I was like, oh, I need to remember to wake up early tomorrow to order this thing. And I didn't know exactly when the pre-order was happening. So like we were both on our phones and like my laptop was tethered to my phone and we had like several devices running because we didn't know when it was. And then we would wake up and then it wasn't active yet. So we would go back to sleep for a little bit. Then we would wake up a little bit. And then like randomly shortly before pre-orders were supposed to go active, the pre-order that I wanted went active. So we were trying that, but then the website crashed it was like a 45-minute process, I think, to purchase it and just check out because there was so much demand for everything else. Like apparently the Indomitus box set, which is like the new box set, it's not the starter set, but it's like a special box set for this edition that we're talking about, was so in demand that it sold out in between 15 and 30 minutes in every region that it went on sale worldwide. Yeah, and this was after Games Workshop said that they had produced more of this than they've done for any other products in the past, and that they had literal boatloads. Yeah. So, throughout most of the weekend, the internet was aflame with frustration and speculation as to what size boat Games Workshop had been talking about. But the exciting news is Games Workshop has clearly seen all that. And they are using something they've been experimenting with on a very small scale, which is like made to order. So they're effectively actually kind of taking pre-orders now in a kind of quote unquote normal pre-order way. Because normally they just give you like the week before
something different.
Yes, they're calling it made to order. And I think that's because they want to give people I think Games Workshop is used to opening up pre-orders only a week before the product is released. And it's not so much like they need to know how many to print, because it's obviously too late to do that at this point. It's just they want to give people a chance to reserve their copy before it comes out. And then usually, there's some extra and they pick up, they sell normal and stuff like that. But now what they are doing is giving a limited window, and I don't think they've announced when that is closing for the general public. They're giving people a limited window to order more copies of the box, or a copy of the box if they couldn't get one before. And they will do another print run apparently to that capacity. So it's still going to be limited. It's not going to be an indefinite product you can pick up at any time. But if you wanted the box and you didn't get it, you have probably another couple weeks to put in an order with your local store or online through the website. They are warning that depending, you may not get the box for 120 days or so. So it's not going to be order it now and get it next month. It's definitely going to be, they're going to have to, print a whole bunch more and pack them and organize them and whatnot. But at least they've come up with a solution for the problem that will let people who were very excited, get a copy of those models.
Mm-hmm. Very, very
Bless
cool.
you.
At least they're blessings be upon you, Emma. But yeah, at least they are accommodating for that. Speaking of which, accommodating, how there's this pandemic going around, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
guess what?
I've heard about it.
Yeah, did you know that there's this game called Pandemic Legacy going on, and they were supposed to release 3 seasons of it, but now, Christian, what's up?
Well, that was most of it right there, Bonsai. Good job on the story. Well, no, I'm just kidding. Pandemic Legacy has announced a season 0, which means that I don't know if they're doing a season 3 anymore. They're doing a prequel because people love those.
Yeah, I do.
Some people, you grown like you don't love prequels, but maybe you're just not thinking about the right ones.
Yeah, it depends. Rogue One was great, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Rogue One
Borderlands, the
Not in
pre-sequel,
any way
was
a
great.
prequel, but it was a great movie. So Pandemic Legacy is doing a season 0. Why am I bothering telling you about this? If you've played seasons 1 and 2 and you're not going to get season 3, that's news to you. If you're looking for something different than a game about a pandemic during a pandemic, which I, for one, am, I haven't been able to play Pandemic during this because it just scares me a little. This takes place in 1962. It's kind of a Cold War spy story trying to stop a super weapon. You play medical graduates who've been called up by the CIA to travel the world and stop, your enemies from releasing this giant Medusa super weapon that, of course, will cause a pandemic. See, that's where they brought it in.
Yep.
Still part of the. So yeah, it acts as a bit of a prequel. It's technically going to be the last game in the Pandemic trilogy. They went with I think this was a good way to go, honestly. We've seen how bad the world gets. Let's see how it got there. Plus, Cold War spy stories are pretty much the best kind of spy stories.
Well, so it does make me wonder how they're going to connect it with the other seasons. And what I would have to conclude is I haven't finished Pandemic Legacy season 1 or season 2. We're still, I think, in October or November of season 1 because we're real bad at wrapping it up. But if this is like supposed to be part of the same thing, I must imagine that one of the reveals for this season 0 is going to be that the CIA was probably involved in developing whatever the super weapon that you're trying to stop is, and that's ultimately what ended up getting released that caused the collapse that is season 1, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how they're going to loop it through together.
Probably, but
I say as with little info.
Maybe you'll win season 0 and season 1 will never happen, and then you wasted all that time playing seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out it's actually time travelers, and it's a different spinoff.
Yep.
Yeah, it will be interesting because I have to say I've really liked they're not licensed, but the spin-off games for Pandemic. Because the Iberian game was really, really, really beautiful. But the Pandemic game Rising Tide, I think, the one that wasn't even about disease at all and was just about managing water levels in the Netherlands.
I never saw that one.
It's really good.
It's
really good, especially if you like Pandemic games, because Pandemic you start out at kind of like things are a problem, let's go deal with them.
Yeah.
The Rising Tide game starts out at everything is horrible. You need to very quickly kind of fix things before it's cascades. So I think it starts off at a higher tension level than a lot of other Pandemic games, and it was just a really interesting way of taking some of those familiar Pandemic elements of a problem in one area spreading and causing problems in connected areas, but doing it in a way that felt like Pandemic but wasn't exactly like it and didn't have the same theme. And I'd love to see them continue that logic, that thread.
But it's also like you can never completely get rid. Like you need the water to power or to like go through the things. You can't just get rid of the water. Like you get rid of the disease. We've cured it here, so you always have water everywhere. So it's a more kind of subtle gameplay to it.
Yep. It's really interesting. If you've never played it but you like Pandemic, I do strongly recommend it.
Oh, Yeah, I've for a lot of the reviews that I've been seeing is that for these, like, just like as a little grain of salt, just from as things I hear that even though yes, pandemic games are really really fun to play, the stories between the different seasons don't necessarily mesh together. It's kind of like they vaguely reference each other. They're like in the same universe, huh?
Like American Horror Story?
Kind of, yeah, like American Horror Story. So like it's kind of like in the same universe, and you have like repeating themes and characters and stuff like that. But like it doesn't necessarily tie together. They just happen to coincide in the same like universe.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you think about TV shows that work like that, you usually have the season of a TV show will have an overarching story that it begins and is resolved in that season, and then the next season of that TV show may not have those same characters, but it's still in the same world. So you're still going to have a storyline that has a beginning and an end within the show across the seasons, even if that story isn't of those characters. So like, season 1 of Pandemic Legacy was very much kind of the collapse of things. Season 2 was, again, I haven't played through it, but it was certainly advertised as the rebuilding of things and your attempt to kind of reestablish some sort of order and rediscover what's back out there. And then having season 0, again, this is wildly speculative, but we like doing that. Having season 0 be the revelation of what caused all of this would both make sense from a zombie movie, pandemic movie like trope, but also from otherwise, why would this be Pandemic Legacy season 0 as opposed to Pandemic Legacy the Cold War or something like that?
And just a reminder for those of you who aren't familiar with legacy games, this is not a sit down and play once game. So be warned. Like this is the commitment drug of games. Like you gotta put in some time. Make sure that those people are available if you're going to be doing more than one session, because you need these hours.
Yeah.
Well, you got to play through the whole series, and
also be prepared to throw away your board after you're done playing.
Just
no, you change the board and then frame it and put it on the wall so you can realize how horribly you let down all of those countries that are now in collapse.
Yeah.
So you really only want to frame the best version of the game you play. Like, this is the time I saved the world. The one that I don't have framed is the first time I saved the world, which is in a burn pile.
I feel like the better idea would to like seal it with that plastic wrap, and then do dry erase markers and take pictures afterwards.
Nope, you gotta commit.
No, but I want to use it.
That's what we should play a game of Pandemic Legacy, and then make sure we get the very best ending, and then do some kind of ritual and cast a spell and see if it works and the pandemic ends.
Yeah.
I'm literally willing to try anything at this point.
Let's do it. Well, speaking about TV series and how like the universes correlate through one another, Green Knight RPG has been announced. Green Knight is a movie that is coming out, an Arthurian themed movie, so King Arthur time with a lot of fantasy elements, starring Dev Patel as Sir Gawain. Wait, how do you pronounce that? Is it Gawain?
Gawain.
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 But yeah, so I was just like, I don't know how to pronounce this. But yeah, it was the original movie was delayed due to, of course, the global pandemic going on. But this is just like, if you ever saw it, the movie, like if you look at the trailer, it's probably going to be posted in chat right now. It is a very cinematically beautiful like movie. It looks like if you're really kind of into like the darkness of the fantasy era and duty and wanting to just see the grim dark of everything, this is probably what you're gonna like.
Yeah, there's a lot of murder blood. Do not watch with kids, probably. Most likely. But there's a RPG announced to go with it. When you go ahead and watch the advertisement video of it, it makes you think of like those OSR kind of games, very 80s flashback. Hey, do you want to go ahead and play with your family? Look at this box.
Do you remember like old board game or old toy commercials from the 80s or late 70s? Well, there you go.
Them. They're still good.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is
the follow adventure.
Adventure, let us go. The only thing they're missing in the commercial is like the guy coming up from behind them. Hello, welcome, way travelers.
What are you doing in my house?
I would actually be very scared if that happened. Like somebody just come out of nowhere in a role-playing gear. Hello, adventurers. Please do that. But yeah, this is a tabletop RPG. You play the role of knight, noble, hunter, sorcerer, and bard, and the themes are very heavily like you must do this in the most honorable way, and do not stray from the path of good. It looks like to me, looking at the character sheets, because there's not really much detail about the RPG itself. And the overshots look like it's very like strongly story based, and then one that like stresses like very much on personal honor and such. And the game costs about $35 and it ships on August 7th. But yeah, it just looks fun. Kind of game.
I really do hope it, like, because it says it talks a lot about trying to keep your honor. I really do hope it kind of avoids the trope of following the chivalric code to the letter, because that was so gross.
Yeah.
Here's an excuse for rich people to beat up poor people.
Well, I mean, like, we haven't seen the movie yet. To be honest, that might be the point of the game or the movie, in that the code, that following that code of honor led people to do horrible things that probably would lead to beheadings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Lots of beheading.
maybe that'll happen. Like I was just kind of blown away that this kind of came out of left field as an odd promotion. And we had the same thing happen with the Wendy's RPG that came out. You remember that?
Wendy's RPG.
Surprisingly good, tiny little RPG.
Yeah. So like, hey,
really good artwork.
Yeah, I remember.
If the future of marketing movies and consumer products is going to be a slew of remarkably actually really good RPGs coming out that are small scale, focused, and interesting to play in a moment in time, I am 100% all there for it.
Yeah, as long as Dune is amazing.
Well, if Dune isn't amazing, the world's going to have larger problems.
Yeah. But the game has to be amazing too.
I'm sure it'll be good.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know. Maybe they'll I don't know. There's always a chance nostalgia can sometimes help and hurt. So gotta put, I don't know, kid gloves on, I guess sometimes. I don't know.
Well, or you can both simultaneously understand that you love something and recognize that it's not really good. Like, again, speaking of that nostalgia, I adore the Dune movie. The Dune movie, the old one, is not good.
No, it is not.
No.
Like when I was a kid and I loved the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep. You love them. You have a lot of times with them. There's a lot of stuff in there that you have a lot of fun and joy and affection for. Also, still as a whole, not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly my point.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, so just you got that to look forward to. We're gonna definitely if more movies come out paired with an RPG, we are down here at Gen Con for movies and RPGs to be developed simultaneously at the same time. Just saying, probably would.
Yeah. I mean, if they want to call us up and show the movie on our Twitch stream and then finance us to go play the RPG, I'm sure I could find some people who might be up for that.
I'm not busy.
Oh yes.
All my jobs got sick for the year.
Because of all the pandemic.
Legacy season 0. We just passed that.
No, I was talking about dang it. Anywho. Speaking of which, Emma, you got some news of Asmodee acquiring more essentially game publishers, if I'm right.
Yeah. Asmodee is the scavenging ooze that goes around and sucks all of the game companies into its mighty form. So for this one, it's a maker of Dixit, Libellud, I believe it's called, is acquired by Asmodee. So the owner or the founder, Regis Bonesi, is leaving the company to develop other entrepreneurial projects, which we've seen a couple of times before, right? there's and I think from a design perspective, it kind of makes a lot of sense.
We've probably done a dozen Asmodee acquires stories.
Yeah, well, because people start off, they make a publishing company. I have a lot of friends in this same position who just started a publishing company. They've done a few Kickstarters, and at a certain point, you're not creating games and putting new games out into the world. You're a fulfillment company, right? You have your back catalog. You have to keep all these relationships. It becomes an administrative maintenance thing. So I think it makes a lot of sense for people to at some point say like, hey, this isn't kind of really what I signed up for, and it's not my passion. So I'm going to give it to someone who is an expert at doing that, and I'm going to go off and do some of my own stuff for a little bit.
Yeah, like I think that's usually the best kind of deal that these can be, where it's like it's not your strength, it's not your passion, it's not what you were there for. So this other company that has those capabilities and has that structure built up can take care of it for you, and you can focus on making the weird, fun, crazy games.
Yeah, and a lot of these games, it is good too. There's because the person can just say like, oh, I'm done, and throw their hands up, and these games go away. But these are a lot of games. I mean, a lot of my favorite games. I love Dixit, Mysterium, Seasons, Obscurio. I haven't had a chance to play yet, but we actually previewed it on the Gen Con new releases a few months ago, or maybe a few years ago. I don't know what time it is anymore. But I definitely saw it. I'm like, that's a really cool concept for a game. So
they made a lot of really good. A lot of really good, like, iconic games, I think, that stepped out of where a lot of us assumed what board games were about. Like Mysterium, I think, was a revelation for a lot of people when they played it for the first time. Dixit, the same way.
Yeah. Especially Dixit. Like, I love Dixit because I've played it with a lot of my friends who are not as much gamers, so it's definitely something, or people who haven't played many hobby games at all. So you can get people into gaming with a lot of these games, which I think is really cool.
Very, very, very cool. Speaking about games that are up and coming, we're gonna go ahead and just do a quick, short little blip. Steven Universe is getting a board game called Beachapalooza card game. It's a card battle game. Card battle game. Basically, you compete to acquire as many of the various different gems. If you're not familiar with the Steven Universe cartoon series, you are like, gems are essentially adronymous, like almost like angels, creatures of higher power. And they try to solve things in a very like personal matters. It brings up a lot of like things and trauma that can happen with feelings, and growing up with a toxic mother kind of thing, and societies.
The TV show has done a remarkably good job of taking the metaphor of aliens invading a planet from a very kind of structured and controlling society, and using that to examine, or at least just kind of discuss or acknowledge, a lot of the emotions and identities and stuff like that people struggle with on a daily basis.
Yeah. And for this card game, with all that in there, this is mostly like build your crew, while ensuring as well as fighting corrupted gems. Emma, you were saying that you kind of don't like the idea that it looks like it's mostly like punching in this game.
Yeah, so I do want to speak, I know the designers of this game. I love the theme of the game. I'm very excited about it. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I think the one thing I'd want to look at it a little closer, because at least going to Kickstarter and watching the trailer for it, and I think lots of people love properties for different reasons. A lot of people just like, hey, it's cool gems, and you get a fusion, and you're powerful, and you have abilities. I think that's a totally awesome way to enjoy the show. For me, it was always about, like you were talking about, the emotions of the show, the complexities of the relationships, and especially, hopefully not to spoil something, but there's definitely an evolution of like, hey, these are the bad guys. Oh no, wait, something bad happened to them. They're not actually the bad guys. These are the bad people, and just kind of revealing these layers over time of how complex these situations are. And that's really a theme throughout the whole show, and something, to me, that's the core of it. Like, that's what I love about it, interpersonal relationships.
I agree. This game kind of reminds me a little bit of the My Little Pony card game, where my first thought when I heard a card game was coming out for My Little Pony was that it was going to be about, is it going to be a co-op game? It's like the show is Friendship is Magic. So I would have figured it would lean heavily into that, and it didn't. But a lot of people still really love the game. So, I would want to give the game a chance to see how it plays, and to see if maybe some of the other feel of the show gets through. But I while we were reading this, it occurred to me that the biggest sin against the canon of Steven Universe that this game is clearly committing has been unrecognized by all of us. And that is, if it's going to be called Beachapalooza, shouldn't it be the Battle of the Bands? Wasn't that the Beachapalooza of the show?
Oh, you're right.
Wait, no, it is a Battle of the Bands.
Is it?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, because flipping through it, I didn't see any musical instruments or anything like that.
No, it is Battle of the Bands because they have they're singing. They got music. Not all of them have instruments though.
These animated GIFs involve flashing lights and no musical instruments. I feel deceived. Deceived.
You're making your band. You can make a band with all Stevens, and then there's a fusion in
that
your
was the
bands.
best episode.
All Stevens.
And then the people are crashing. So the fighting happens when people crash the party. I believe that's what happens. Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out more details as the Kickstarter comes out live on July 14th. We'll probably be talking about it again. The pledge is for $30 or £23. The pounds. And for the core game, and estimated arrival in December. But yeah, as Christian, what were you saying earlier about talking about these games earlier?
You're gonna have to remind me now.
It's something about, if we like it, we should say about it 2 times. How is it?
Yeah,
you did a nice, clever saying.
I said so nice. We mentioned it twice.
There you go. So you go. So we are going to be probably mentioning it twice.
Yeah. Now that the Kickstarter is technically up, but when we usually talk about Kickstarters, it's towards the end of that Kickstarter, usually long after they've made goal, where we mention it again. So it'll inevitably be coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
Or it won't, because it's failing. We don't know. Anything can happen. It's Kickstarter.
You're right. It is Kickstarter.
Business is down. Sell.
Yeah, I mean, we did mention that we were a little surprised that it didn't already have more backing. And it kind of reminded me of the Steven Universe card game that Keith Baker designed. That
Scott.
I'm sorry, no, Scott Pilgrim. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Scott Pilgrim game that Keith Baker worked on that was like a very clever execution of a lot of the style, not themes, but like style and motifs of Scott Pilgrim in the mechanics. But it didn't seem to kind of garner, at least as far as I'm aware, the attention that I would have expected it to.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing about Kickstarters. Like, Kickstarter isn't a marketing vehicle. You need to build your marketing campaign to tell people about the Kickstarters. Like, it's not enough just to have a beloved IP. Maybe once back in the day, back in the 90s or whatever, it's like, oh, they put the Spider-Man on the thing. Buy all the things that are the Spider-Man. But nowadays, like, you got to build that out. You got to tell people. Like, even me, I was talking to the designers about this back at BGG Con in November last year, and I didn't actually realize it was coming to Kickstarter until I just saw it at Kickstarter. I thought it was just going to be released. So I think that there was I still think absolutely it's going to be successful with these things. More people will hear about it and get excited about it, but you're not seeing that same like huge first day blow up, because you got to tell people about that, right? People got to know.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we probably do just want to take a moment to recognize and appreciate how we got to a point as an industry where a licensed game like this is a thing that we are excited enough to discuss the details of and appreciate the kind of nuances of, as opposed to it just being like, well, it's a cash in, that's probably not going to be good. Like, none of us are saying this game's bad. We're all we love games, we love the IP.
We're very picky.
We love to talk about how they're interplaying. So like, I think it's great that we have licensed games for pretty recognizable IPs that can withstand that kind of examination and come out pretty well.
Yeah, well, it's just like, it would be suicide at this point to put out just an awful licensed game. I mean, you could probably get away with an okay one. Maybe pure
USAopoly.
Yeah. Like maybe if it was pure mass market, but if you if you're doing anything that even touches upon hobby, and a lot of these games are a little bit more complex and speak more to the hobbyist market. So you got to put in the design effort there, because people will know and they will not be happy about that.
Exactly. Now we'll go ahead and there's another game that I know somebody in our group is very excited about. The Masquerade. Derek, can you tell us about the Masquerade?
That should actually be the theme song for the game, I've decided.
Yeah, I think we need to contact Renegade to let them know that you've redone their video and they should upload the replacement now. But yeah, so we've been hearing news about Renegade releasing a Vampire the Masquerade expandable card game. So it has a name now, it's Rivals. It is not up on Kickstarter yet, but it will be. This is another one that I was a little surprised to see going to Kickstarter. But if they use it to kind of build hype and give people a place to be excited about it for a month or so, that'll be great. And like, I'm certainly excited to see what the details are going to be. I'm a huge fan of Vampire in general, but I'm also a huge fan of the old Vampire, the Eternal Struggle card game. They've said it's not that, but I really like expandable games. You're still building a group of little vampires that you're going to have go do your bidding. That sounds like there's 3 different ways to have to get victory. You can get a certain number of victory points. You can destroy your opponent. You can just beat your opponent's minions to death. Like, I like games that have multiple avenues to explore. And the fact that Vampire has clans and expansions and all that kind of stuff gives plenty of room to grow future content into. So I'm jazzed. I'm excited. They haven't said exactly when it will launch on Kickstarter, but you will be able to play demos of it and see it in action during Gen Con Online, which I'm very excited about.
That's
and
coming
then
in
presumably
another
it will
week.
launch a little bit after that.
I like
One
the
more.
usage of the expandable card game. It's 2 more weeks, right? Till Gen Con?
Oh, wait.
Correct.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 more weeks. I thought it was 2 weeks last week.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I got the timing wrong. I was like, no, it's gotta be next week.
I don't have a paper bag to handle right now.
I feel like we should have had a content warning, stress incoming.
I'm in a flop sweat, like after 3 work. That didn't even happen.
I like the usage of expandable card game here, because you can't use living card game, because that's a Fantasy Flight copyrighted term. Yeah. And trading card game or collectible card game has connotations.
All other connotations.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So expandable card game, it's basically a living card game, so they can't use living card game. It's just like, here, we'll make more stuff for this in the future if it's
Fantasy Flight. That's not shooting yourself in the foot. I don't know what it is.
Also, Derek, I need you to explain to me, because for the picture for this, the person in the background very much looks like a ventriloquist dummy. I don't know thematically how that works, but there's something in there that just like, I think it's like the blood dripping down and the red lips, and it's
sure, just like the kind of like slack jaw. So here, okay, there's just to give you some.
Is that meaningful?
Yeah. So here I'm going to do something that I'm pretty sure any World of Darkness fan can do, and that is to read bullshit into an image that you have absolutely no context for.
Perfect.
So this particular vampire is clearly they're in a state of frenzy. So that is the beast, like slack-jawed, uninterested in social norms or presenting as a normal human, just ravenously expressing the unending appetite that is the vampiric condition.
Excellent.
How about that? Does that work out pretty well? Great.
Good job.
That's about being in a stupor.
Yeah, that one too.
That's
what stupor.
Blood stupor.
So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what they're going to do at Gen Con and when it will go up afterward.
Yes, all the excitement. So that's July 30th and August 2nd. They're going to be doing that. So Emma, you got some more Magic news for us. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have some further product delays. I'm always a little hesitant to talk about this, and this is physical products. They haven't experienced any delays in the digital products as far as I'm aware. But for the physical things, at this point, And as a person who usually doesn't get super hyped about physical things in general, I'm kind of like, well, it will come out whenever, I'm sure, because this is specifically for the Commander collection in green, which is a set of 8 green color themed cards for Magic the Gathering in the Commander format, which is a pretty unique format, pretty much only playable in paper, which, as a sidebar, is a little bit of a bummer right now. I play Commander. I have a lot of friends who are really into Commander, and they are making it work with cameras and things right now. But it can be a little bit tricky to play that format. So the Commander Collection Green had been intended to be released on September 4th, and now they're moving it all the way to December 4th. So that's like a long period of time there where they're really like, hey, we're not really going to have this available. And my guess for this situation isn't even that it's necessarily a product delay, that they can't produce it until then, but it's kind of like, again, this is only really usable in person, and we've already talked about how they've canceled all of the in-person events at least in the US until the end of the year. So it's like, okay, not just that you can't get these, it's like you can't go into the store and play them. Like there's a whole funnel here. And, it's just for them, it's just like part of their marketing strategy is like having in-store events and getting people to play with the new things in person. So I'm sure part of it is a marketing decision there. And also, to not necessarily encourage or like say like, okay, we're going to send this to stores. We don't know if you can go to the stores. It's all really fuzzy right now. I don't even want to say necessarily like, hey, it will definitely be here on December 4th. Because again, we don't know what the future is. That's why they push it so many months out, right? Because it's like it's at a time when we will reevaluate between now and then.
I think
people to be able to buy the stuff makes sense.
Yeah. I think right now, I think people should be treating release dates the same way that maybe you treat like video game releases. Like Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed again. I'm not gonna like mark time off from work to play that right now. I'll wait until I get actually closer, like way closer to that date, and then I'll believe the release dates. But so many things are variable right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know people get very excited, and there's a whole section of the internet that's dedicated to hating on these creators for not releasing the things when they said they would. But creativity can be tough, and it's even tougher right now. So really what it comes down to is just like patience. This stuff continues to exist. Digital forms, Arena is still great. There are options for playing this. They're not perfect, but for the time being, we just got to make the best of it. But speaking of Arena, we had talked a little bit about Jumpstart before, which is where you get 2 special packs that have a theme to them. They're a little different than regular packs because they have 20 cards and a number of lands in there. You actually just take 2 of the packs and smash them together and shuffle them up and play that against someone else who has done that. And that is an Arena. As of yesterday, it is live and playable, and I actually got to check it out just a little bit. And it is kind of as you would expect it, wacky and weird and unpredictable. They have a lot of new stuff in there, which will also be historic playable. So it has a potential to really shake up one of the formats on Magic the Gathering Arena. You get all sorts of stuff. You get whales in there, you get Phyrexians in there, putting counters on stuff, some flyers, like these packs. And as far as I've seen so far, they're each one color. So your deck will probably end up with 2 colors, like a swamp pack and then an island pack, and you mash them together. But it works. So it's functional. So I was glad to see it's like, okay, yeah, it seems to work out pretty well with the curve and all the stuff. And you get some really crazy combinations. It's super swingy, right? Like sometimes you will get those 2 packs because the packs you get, at least in Arena, are random. You only get to choose between like 5 or so.
Yeah, so well, I mean, it's my understanding you pick like the color or the basic theme, but then the contents of that pack are pulled from a larger pool. So each individual pack is going to be random, right?
Yes, because it would be, if it was in real life, you would get like the Phyrexian pack, the swamp Phyrexian pack, and then all of those aren't the same. So those are randomized to some degree. But there's definitely limits to the randomization, right? Because any pack needs to be mixed with any other pack and have a basic curve to it so it doesn't break right out of the gate. But some are definitely just anything with card draw, right? Or like repeatable actions with the cards on the battlefield or more powerful. So there's definitely a range there. But you get to see some cool stuff. I mean, anyone who's played Magic for a long time, like you kind of get a hankering for that experience where it's just like, I just want to, make a giant whale fly or something. It's just I want to cast a spell that makes all the creatures, go back into the deck or whatever, like you just want to do like really weird, wacky stuff. And so far it seems Jumpstart is enabling some of that weirder gameplay. I'm looking forward to that in paper, honestly. Like I say that I love digital, but I think this is a format like cracking a couple of packs and playing with your friends. I think it's really going to shine there a little
How
more.
much the packs cost? Do you remember? The physical packs?
I don't remember about the physical packs.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
On that. Yeah.
But yeah, like we talked about it before. Like this seems like the perfect format for me because it alleviates all of my stress of being a bad deck builder and not being aware of the meta by just removing the ability for me to even build the deck.
Yeah.
Just grab 2 packs and play your turn. Don't worry about it. Just play your turn. If you lose, blame the cards. If you win, you were a genius.
No, but that is cool.
And the physical packs aren't actually available yet.
Yep.
So it's only the and it's looking like you're going to be able to get, at least on Amazon, like 4 of them for about $32. So maybe like $8-ish per pack. Yeah, and they have the lands in there. They're a little bigger packs, and they have like the gameplay. It's for like $30, you basically get like 2 people can play a game. It's almost like buying a board game.
Well, that's a very good deal, and that is available on Arena. So even though there are delays going on right now, you can still get all of that on Arena. And that was our main headlines for today. So now we're going to go ahead and roll right into Bundle Boss, Christian.
That was very Final Fantasy today. I dig that. Thank you so much. Welcome to the bundles. Okay, so we've got a couple to talk about today. First being from Humble Bundle. It is the RPG book bundle for Pathfinder 2nd edition by Paizo. Why is this bundle good? Because it's got all of Pathfinder 2nd edition in it. This game is like 2 years old. This is practically a brand new game. I wasn't personally expecting to see a 2nd edition Pathfinder bundle for quite some time because they're constantly cranking out those 1st edition ones because they have so much material from the past to draw from. This is the first one I've seen that is, it's all Pathfinder, and it looks great. I mean, even at the lowest level, you're still getting that core rule book and the character sheet pack and a bunch of flip mats and some adventures. And then if you want to spend another few bucks, you get a bunch more stuff. And if you go for the whole shebang, like $20, $30, whatever you're spending, you've got like the bestiary and character guides, all sorts of even more flip mats and dungeons. And it's just about every resource you could possibly want to get started playing Pathfinder 2nd edition. There's a reason that it rated so highly and a reason that it sold so well last year as a D&D alternative. It is one of the best out there.
Yeah, it struck me that the bundle seems pretty well structured for like players versus GMs. Because if you're going to play in a game, you can just grab that cheap like $5 bundle and get the basic PDF and stuff and be ready to go. And then the GM can pay more and get the maps and the monsters and everything else that you need. Like I adore these kinds of bundles that are, for core books for big powerhouse game lines, basically.
Yeah, and this will get your whole table playing in no time.
Yeah, I'm really happy that that Paizo, put out the 2nd edition bundle to kind of, help more people like check out what they've done with the new game.
Nice. But yeah, what does the charity support on this one?
Such as the National Urban League, Carl Brandon Society, and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. All good causes and a great bundle. So check it out while you can. The next that we have is a Humble Bundle as well, and it is the Warhammer Bundle 2020, which is weird because this is not normally what we do, although we have in the past. This is video games. These are all digital games, most of which I have not played with the exception of a couple of them. I'll go through a few of them right now, but you're going to get for the, at the low level, you're getting Kill Team, Dawn of War, the Game of the Year edition, Herald of Legacy of Dorn, Herald of Oblivion, and the first Vermintide game. Then if you as you go up in the tiers, you get, the next Dawn of War, the Armada game you're talking about, Gothic Armada.
Battlefield Gothic, yeah.
Yeah, Battlefield.
Where you're basically flying, you're flying space cathedrals at each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. 3 more there, and then at the final, you're getting 40K Dawn of War, the Space Marine Collection, which is more than one game, and Blood Bowl 2, where if you want to play football with orcs and goblins, now you can.
Yeah, so
that's one of the few I've played. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, like all 3 of the Dawn of Wars are in there. Dawn of War 2, I think, is held up as one of the best 40K video games, one of the best RTS games of all time. Kill Team was a ton of fun, kind of like a twin stick shooter. And that Space Marine Collection was just a fantastic game if you want to play a third person action shooter of you're a Space Marine going around and just killing orcs forever. It's a great game. Here's
the thing, Derek. I do.
Well, now's your chance.
I do want to run around
as
a Space Marine. Very much so. So that is a great deal, but it is not the last bundle that we have today. Now, the bundle of holding has the Savage World of Flash Gordon. It is a Savage Worlds game based on the old comics of Flash Gordon, the football player who went to space and saved the galaxy.
I hear he's a miracle.
Yeah, it's got.
Is that all? Is that actually? So cool.
He's got his own song by Queen.
It actually 100% is.
Wait,
Flash.
Flash Gordon is
a
football.
He's a miracle.
Yep.
You saved the world.
Yep.
Of the universe.
I don't know anything about Flash Gordon.
There's a golden football at one point where he throws it into the evil dude and the evil dude explodes. If I remember.
That's just in the movie though.
Most of the universe from Hot Hail.
It's about old school sci-fi rocket ships and aliens and ray guns, and rocket ships are shaped like rocket ships. It's got this very, very cool pulp sci-fi feel to it. I had a chance to play test it last year at Gen Con. It being a Savage Worlds game, it was immensely fun. They've kept everything very, very authentic to the creator of Flash Gordon's wishes, which means that all of the aliens have just incredibly stupid names for their race. The different species of alien in this are just ridiculous, including Hawkmen, Snake Men. You get the whole
creative there.
Yeah. So
they're to the point.
The point, you can make a female Snake Man. Because Snake Man is the name of their race. It's old school, but they do a great job by using some mechanics that they haven't used in other Savage Worlds game. One of my favorites being the cliffhanger mechanic, which is kind of a neat way to end not just a session, but an event, not an encounter. You can basically choose to take a bathroom break right then and say you want to do a cliffhanger. And then you get these inspiration points, and you can use those to pick kind of what happens during that cliffhanger instead of playing out the entire scenario when you come back.
Do you get to spend one of your inspiration points to improv the advertisement for the sponsor that's going to happen in between there?
Ooh, yeah.
There you go.
Certainly don't have to. We're not trying to necessarily get that level of authenticity, but. It definitely is the right kind of game for that kind of feeling. Yes, you figure out what kind of soap you're going to be slinging.
Brought to you by Dudley's Soap Suds.
And if your GM doesn't give you a couple extra bennies to get through the adventure with for doing it, they're not good at their job. So there you go. This comes with not only the core book for the Flash Gordon setting and all of the supplemental materials, including the stuff that was only available to backers at the very beginning. This has got everything for the Flash Gordon. Of course, you'll need the Savage Worlds rules to play with it, but it also includes those. So you've got a base game in Savage Worlds that you get for basically nothing, plus a whole world of supplements that go along with this setting. So if you're looking for an interesting, very, very, old school, kitschy, bad sci-fi setting, this might be the way to go. Plus you get a free copy of the Savage Worlds rules in it. So check it out. I got it, and it's awesome.
Very, very
There
cool.
you go. That's bundles, everybody.
That has bundles. And now we are going straight to Kickstarter with Derek.
Well, we don't have very many Kickstarters this week.
Yep.
But why don't we start off with Emma? You had a secret and shameful love that you wanted to share with all of us.
Yeah, the secret
Other than
and
the World of Warcraft movie.
Even more secret, even more shameful.
That is not secret, neither secret nor shameful. Everybody knows about that. And I carry that love with pride. Yeah, so I racing, this is something that I think it's not secret and shameful as much as like I don't know where it came from, because I never grew up around racing. Like I don't know anything about really NASCAR or Formula One or any of the like traditional racing sports.
I've got a one-word question then. Mario Kart?
No, Mario Kart is I hate Mario Kart. You fall off the edge.
Hey,
and you're
Emma! Oh my God! Finally, I have found someone who agrees with me. I hate Mario Kart. I hate kart racing. I hate them.
Traitors, both of you.
Okay, this is a game in which
I'm
you
with the dark side on this one, Bonsai. Sorry.
And you're just not in the game, as everyone and then you're last and you're getting laughed. Anyways,
and the controls are bad and it's so random. And,
anyway, back to the Kickstarter. I'm sorry.
Wait.
I opened a can of worms. I was not prepared for this.
Sorry, Sparky Pugwash in chat says that they like the World of Warcraft movie. So I feel
they also like Mario Kart. So I don't think they're the ally that you think they are.
All right. Anyways, I think my passion around racing comes in part from racing movies, because I do like, maybe it's just not in all racing movies, maybe it's just Fast and Furious, because there's something about this just like cars and pushing it to the edge, and if you ain't bumping, you ain't racing, or however the quote goes.
Emma, I think the key is it's about family. That's why.
It's about family.
It's about family.
And cars and fast.
And cars
stuff.
and bros.
I'm gonna go hide under my blankets, Dom.
Anyways, bringing it back, taking it back to Kickstarter, there's a game called Rallyman Dirt. This has 6 days left, ending Thursday, July 23rd. Get behind the wheel and race against the clock as you drift, slide, jump, and push your luck through your own high-octane rally. So this game immediately reminded me of, honestly, one of my favorite games, which is Formula Day, aka Formula D. You might have seen it as. And this game, Formula D, you have bigger dice. You shift up to your gearbox, and then you roll a bigger dice, and you go farther. And if you play correctly, you burn out your engine just as you're crossing the finish line. So it's very much about, it's basically a roll and move. I mean, even with this game, it's a little bit of a roll and move, although you're actually placing the dice on the track to see how far you'll go, and then you roll those dice, which is a very fascinating mechanic. But I do like how the racing board games I've played really kind of capture that feel of racing. And one of the coolest things about this, or two things, it's got a configurable track, which is very interesting. You can choose to, so you plot out your dice for how far you're going to go. You can choose to roll them one at a time, so you don't blow out and get too many warnings. Or if you're feeling lucky, you can choose to go flat out and roll all of your dice at once. There's probably a mechanical reason other than just being a badass there, but I don't know. I just think there's a lot of really cool stuff going on with this one.
You just want to shout "punch it" as you roll all those dice.
Are you sure it's not da-na-na, going at the speed of light? The drifting, Tokyo Drift game? I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Emma, you have seen Speed Racer, the movie, right?
No.
Speed Racer, the movie, is an experience, and I recommend it.
Okay.
The Wachowskis did it.
I don't know where it's actually streaming now, but it is a remarkable experience.
It's awesome. Really, really good.
I'll put that in my queue. I want to check that out.
All right. To get back to Kickstarter, so we can actually finish. Bonsai,
yes.
What have you got for us?
We got with 6 days left. You guys might notice that all of these have 6 days left. Thursday, July 23rd. Hybris, Disorder Cosmos. Basically, it's another one of those Greek mythology plus a lot of like technology mashup like Steam technology mashup. It's a worker placement game where you play as either Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, or Athena to become the king of the gods. It's designed to 2 or 4 players. Probably going to be a lengthy game because they say it's 30 minutes per turn, or add 30 minutes for every player you have in the game. You can do solo and co-op. There's a lot to this game. You have to, while you're going ahead and doing your worker placement and engine building, you also have to level up your god, research new technology, release prisoners from TARDIS, and fight mythical or other mythical beasts and gods. So it is a very highly detailed game. And
it's got minis and cards on a board and tokens.
Kickstarter board game.
It's Kickstarter board game.
Well, like this is at most a Kickstarter board game light.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a very beautiful set. I am personally just a fan of a lot of like when you mix myths and legends with worker placement games, because then you can feel like the god you are. And but yes, pretty much if you to win the game, you just have to be the mostest, beating up the most people and the most divine god that you can be. And that does have 6 days less hybris disorder of the cosmos, or disorder cosmos.
Boom.
All right, up next we have Wait For Me, also with 6 days left, ending Thursday, July 23rd, as Bonsai mentioned. All of our games this week, all our Kickstarters are ending on that day.
Something special about next Thursday, apparently.
The world is going to end. No.
So Wait For Me, Derek will be very happy about this. It's a game where I put my money where my mouth is,
yes.
And I've already backed this one. It's created
But were you a backer before I shared the link?
I've been a backer since like it launched. Yeah.
Well, so then I can't take credit for it. I'm just happy for you.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is by creator Jian Shim. Something that I really love about all of the games that they're creating is just it's this very fascinating space. Like I follow a lot of indie RPG creators and like indie board game creators, and GN is really in this middle space of just like really weird different things that I've never seen anything like before. So for this game in particular, Wait For Me, it's a 22-day journaling game about time travel and connection. There are no physical levels in this. They are all digital only, and the lowest level, you don't even get a physical thing. You don't even get like a document. You get the PDF at the second level. The lowest level is just emails. For 22 days, you're going to get emails with journaling prompts about traveling back in time. As a backer, I saw a sample one of these where it was like, okay, you just moved with your family, you're in an all-day orientation, your journal is left open on your bed at home, and as your future self, you come back and write a message. So you're going to make a series of messages and physical artifacts. And
there are limitations on what you can do as a player. So like I think the project had an example of like you're kind of hopping back and forth in time, not entirely in your own control, it seems like, and you have like 50 words to explain, to get your message across and make your past self believe you. What are those 50 words that you say? And like in neat little kind of constraints like that, I think that can drive some interesting kind of creativity.
Yeah, and there's the fact that it is going to be email prompts, because I have a lot of these kind of solo journaling single player games. I think it's perfect for right now too, in time, when this is going to be delivered. It's going to be a set time, everyone's doing it at the same time. We're probably still going to be in lockdown, so it's perfect timing for this project. But I think I'm actually going to, or I hope, my intention is actually will play through it, because everyone's going to be doing it. It's going to be a community thing. And I'm going to be.
It would be a really fascinating thing to do on Twitter, actually.
Yeah. And one of the things is one of the levels is you can get for my friends level, so you can back at a level where you can. It's only like $30 to enter up to 6 of your friends, and then they'll also, with their consent, I would assume, don't just send emails to a bunch of your random friends, but you can get do it as a group. So I just think there's, from a game design perspective, just so many fascinating things going on here. Definitely recommend checking that out.
And one of the Kevin Culp is the co-creator on it, and it's interesting because his last big game was Time Watch, which was another time travel game. So like it's very neat. I saw some of his commentary on Twitter about what their approach was when designing this game, because Time Watch is, time travel. It's very classic adventure-y tropes. It's big, it's exciting, it's action, and they wanted to kind of approach time travel from a different perspective, of a very like personal, very like a much calmer, more personal, more emotional, quieter take on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just it's a neat thing to play around with.
Yeah.
Right.
So it has 6 days left.
All right. Another one with 6 days left is Recipe for Disaster, a card game of culinary chaos. You ever wanted to simulate on a board game a cooking competition? Well, guess what?
Yeah.
This is the game for you. It's a creative game about set collections, bluffing, and telling stories as you compete with rival chefs to create the best dish. The players must try, the keyword, to assemble a recipe with a hodgepodge of ingredients that they are given. Like a lot of competition shows, like this plays out very much like a competition show. So you kind of like have to work with not having all of your ingredients and all your like supplies that you need. At the beginning of each round, the player assembles their ingredients in the shopping market, digging for random ingredients in the fridge. Or if you want to be adventurous, you can get things for free when you look into the dumpster, but be aware that you might lose points by the health inspector if you're dumpster diving for those free ingredients. For the end of each round, players must go ahead and convince their how their dish is the best interpretation of the dish that they were supposed to create. So this is where the bluffing aspect comes in. So you could say, like, for example, they had pizza on there, but instead of bread, I could only get spaghetti noodles. So then I would say, hello, this is my interpretation of a deconstructed pizza. I wanted to have a different mouthfeel to engage with you when you think of pizza, and that's basically.
I really
I
thought
love
about this, Bonsai.
You're gonna be amazing at this game.
I love
Bonsai?
cooking competitions.
Have I ever told you about the chicken parm pizza at like Cheesecake Factory or something like that?
I don't go to Cheesecake Factory, but no.
I think that you need to go to Cheesecake Factory to try the chicken parm pizza, where the chicken is the pizza.
Oh, so it's like a keto pizza?
It's just like, it's a weird, smashed, deconstructed, bizarro thing that sounds like you just said those words, so now you are required by law to go experience it.
But yeah, that has 6 days left. It's a lighthearted, fun party game. And if you guys like goofy games like that, are easy to pick up and you can explain to people, yes, that'd be great. But yeah, I've had a bacon crusted pizza that was just bacon that I stitched together, and it didn't have any dough, so that was.
Yeah, you're definitely required by law to go watch or go eat this.
I can't go out. There's a pandemic. I can just.
You can get it delivered.
Okay. There you go.
No, wait, no, it's. I think, I don't know. You'll find some place you can get it from. We'll enable this for you so that you can experience it for our.
You are forced to eat the chicken parmesan pizza.
So the last Kickstarter we have this week, with 6 days left as well, again on the foretold day when fate will come together and Kickstarter will ascend to the next level of existence, is Roar and Write, which somehow I ended up with the cutest Kickstarter of the week, which is a little out of character. But this is not only cute, it is a roll and write, which is another kind of outside my usual realm of sphere of influence. But it's a roll and write that has like some trick taking and push your luck mechanics. So it sounds like it's playing with the idea of roll and writes a little more in a direction that appeals to me. So I'd love to kind of see how this actually plays out. And then I really just like the art. You're basically trying to convince this kind of council of like noble animals who get to pick who the next like king or ruler of the animal kingdom is.
Yeah.
So you have like this wolf or fox with like a necklace, and you have a frog, and there's a lot of neat little animals that have these kind of minor touches on them.
I would pick the one that knows what jewelry is. Like,
yeah.
That's the smartest animal.
It has jewelry.
Come on. you can't police their fashion. Some of those animals are going to push jewelry beyond what any of us had imagined. But it's just a neat style. Like, like they have kind of a nice, natural but regal look to them. I thought it was kind of striking.
They also look
and
very
it
boopable.
sounds, yes, it's extraordinarily boopable. Because it doesn't look like that poison frog, or that frog is poisonous, so you'll probably survive booping it. So if you
or just get high.
Yeah, so if you want to try a roll and write that's going in a little bit of a different direction, it seems like this might be a good choice.
All right. Very, very cool. And that was, in fact, our Kickstarters of there. And that would be the end of Tabletakes for today. But don't go off just yet. We stick around because Gen Con online overview, as you heard, we still got 2 weeks before Gen Con gives digital with Gen Con online. And of course, we are more than just a Friday show. We have a whole week streaming schedule here at Gen Con TV. Monday, 6 p.m. with the board games with the Brothers Murph. Wednesday, or this is all Pacific Standard Time, by the way. Wednesday at 1:30 p.m., this game gets dicey, followed by 4 p.m. Fireside with Peter Atkins. 2 p.m., we, of course, coming back, Tabletakes with us, and 3:30 p.m. info streams about Gen Con online reviews. So don't forget, friends, if you like hearing about board games, about playing board games, RPGs, all that kind of stuff, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, tweet about it, retweet, turn on notifications, all that kind of good stuff. And if you miss a show, don't worry. 24 hours afterwards, it will all be on YouTube a day later. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Emma, Derek, and Christian, of course, for bringing your lovely personalities here. And stick around for more Gen Con online review. Bye!
Bye!